Several African leaders, as well as the president of the African Development Bank, Akinwui Adesina, and the director of economic affairs in the African Union Commission, Jean-Denis Gabikini, have commended China's efforts to prevent the control of the spread of the corona epidemic virus. The leaders say the measure taken by China to lock down some of its cities, more particularly that of Wuhan, is tremendous and portrays China's responsibility to its people and the rest of the world.
Well, I don't think anything wrong with it because this was done when we had Ebola in West and Central Africa. You know, they locked down particular towns. People couldn't move. You know, I mean, you take the case of agriculture. When you have the even foot and mouth disease, you cordon off particular areas where those things are. Whether it is also avian influenza, you know, a problem with that, they have to cordon off areas where that is. So whenever you have a contagion effect, it's a normal thing that you do. You know, you restrict movement, and so it's not anything unusual. This is always done when you have epidemiology of diseases. Well, I think that any time that you have an incidence of exogenous shocks from health, it is not just an issue for a country. It's an issue for the global commons. And so we are all in it together. That can happen in any part of the world, and we will be in the same thing. I think the Chinese are doing a fantastic job of trying to contain it the best they can. Obviously, you know, with the WHO providing the support that is needed, everybody's working around the clock around the world to find the vaccines for us to deal with this. You know, my heart goes out to all the people that have been affected and that have died from this. You know, a single death from any disease, from any infection, is one death too many. And so we are all in it together. It's not a question of any country and so on. We live in a global commons, and anything that affects any country can easily have impact everybody else. So we must have a collective global solution on it and continue to encourage the Chinese government in all they're doing.
You must remember that the coronavirus can spread very quickly, and the Chinese population is very dense and huge. So I think for the Chinese to do that was a wise thing. We also applaud them for the sterling work they are doing. It's remarkable. I mean, the hospital they've built and all the efforts they've put into controlling this virus, because they are not only doing it for the Chinese, but for the world, because the world is a global village. An outbreak in one country can quickly spread to the rest of the world, but they've done a wonderful job to contain it.
Well, the Chinese know the situation better than anyone else. It's local with them, so we agree with whatever measure is they're doing. We trusted the wisdom of the Chinese government and the Chinese people. We know Chinese government, Chinese people are doing not only for China but for the whole world to contain the coronavirus.
We think that just to make sure not to affect others, it's a good move to lock the city so that within that city they will be able to control the situation, and then to prevent other cities and other environment to get contaminated. So for us, economically speaking, it's a good move. The general effort that China is doing for us is really amazing. They are doing well because we also learned that they built an hospital in 9 days, and that's really something that must be encouraged and make sure that they are doing well, and they need support. We must make sure to come together and to make sure that Chinese, they can control and stop that virus.
I have read actually the World Health Organization reports, international reports, and they are all actually appreciating what China is doing. Of course, we cannot say that thankfully that epidemic has happened in China, but in a way, maybe if it happened in a country without such great experience, maybe it could have been very dangerous to the whole world. And I think China is doing very well with that, and they have the experience of working in such environment, and they have the facilities even, which many countries of the world they don't have. And I think the way also they handle the Wuhan areas was very good, and they maintain the health situation in a good way. At the same time, they have facilitated for the countries who want to bring their students or citizens who live in Wuhan area in a very also respectful way, because they have helped a lot, and we hope that in a very short time will overcome this problem.